We are here to talk about increasing sales conversions online, and I want to really stress the online portion. I am not a sales trainer. I'm not going to talk about traditional sales processes. That's not my area of expertise, but I definitely can talk about the online portion of this. So let's jump right into this thing once I find my clicker. Sound good back there? All right, good. I always ask two questions when I'm here at FenceTech. I'm interested to know, I find it fascinating. How many folks are at FenceTech for the very first time, never been to FenceTech before? All right. And I'm going to change my question that I asked earlier. All right, how many folks are in this room right now that heard me speak earlier today? Damn. Oh, all right. Okay. So I didn't scare y'all off. That's good news. That's good news. Well, thanks for coming back here. This format's going to be a little bit different than the last one. The last one, we had an hour and I had a lot to pack in. I still have a lot to pack in, but we have an hour and a half. I don't know that we'll take the whole hour and a half or not. I'm certainly not going to keep you 1 minute longer than we need to be here. So we get to slow down a little bit. I don't know if you noticed afterwards, but I was huffing. It was a lot of information to deliver in a short period of time. So those of you that did see me speak earlier, just bear with me on the introduction again, because not everybody in the room knows who I am, and I think that is important. So we'll kind of run down again. So I'm the co-owner of the digital agency that the largest digital agency that works in the fence space. We create websites. We do all the SEO, Google ranking stuff, digital marketing, paid ad management. We create amazing expert content. I'm going to show off a little bit of that here so you guys understand what that's all about. We do strategy and consulting, and we do all of that for the fence industry only, 100% focus on the fence industry. And frankly, that's our secret to success. We have highly talented people. As a matter of fact, we have 43 highly talented .com team members here, and all we do is focus on fence. And when you have a big team, a talented team, and you do one thing, you get pretty good at it. So that's where I'm coming from. And then the final piece of this is who we work with. So we work with most of the top influencers in the industry. For those of you that follow any of the Facebook groups, YouTube, TikTok, any of that stuff, and you're following fencers, you most certainly would recognize most of the folks up top there. I'm happy to say that those guys are friends and clients of ours. And we do work with over 150 fence contractors across the country, manufacturing distributors, and all kinds of other related companies. I talk about, I usually use an example of like My Salesman, software service, right, that serves the fence industry. Expert Stain and Seal, obviously stained, and they're big in the fence industry. So a lot of fence contractors and a lot of businesses around the fence industry. So hundreds and hundreds of clients in all kinds of different walks of life, but all related to the fence industry. So with the information I'm going to share with you and the stuff that I'm going to talk about is proven. It's not theoretical, and it's proven for the fence industry. So this is, roofing is different than fence, and landscaping is different than fence. And so the things that we're talking about here, they work for fencers. And I am one of the top speaker trainers in the fence industry. I travel all over the country, speak at just about every fence event, been doing that for years. And we're partnered up with Mr. Fence Academy and Tony Thornton Super Summit and AFA and FWA, and basically every organization in the fence industry I'm a part of. And so again, we care about fence, we love fence, all we do is fence. And so that's why I'm here with you guys, because I like being around fencers. All right, let's get into this now. Increasing sales conversions online. As with my previous talk, for those of you that were there, these notes are available. So if you want to scan that, put your information in. We'll make sure that we get a recording of this. I'm calling it notes. It's actually a recording of this talk. We'll send it to you. So that way you guys can be fully present. And so you don't miss anything. I throw a lot of information. I want you guys to understand my thought process here. is that you're all coming from a different place. What one person needs is totally different than what somebody else needs. So I throw a lot of information at you. I don't necessarily expect that you're gonna remember hardly any of it. It's just too much. But the fact that I get your brain working on something, you'd be like, ooh, that was for me, right? Now you have a recording you could go back to and go dig into that thing. So don't sit here and try to retain everything. It's just not like that. It is like drinking from a fire hose. A lot's coming at you, but not everything is for you. This stuff in particular, this is kind of a standard disclaimer I make, but it's very true for this one. Guys, you cannot manage what you don't understand, right? And so we find folks, a lot of times, a lot of fencers that I talk to, they'll just hire somebody. They'll be like, look, I don't know how to do this, and I think you know how to do this, so I'm gonna pay you money and please go do this, right? And that is not a path to success. All right, you cannot outsource your success. You need to be able to understand things enough to manage it. A lot of times I use the example that if you hired a foreman or some crew chief or an installer or whatever, and you're like, oh, these guys know how to install fence, but then you just turn them loose. You just pay them and you just turn them loose. Then it's not going to go well. If you don't oversee them for 6 months, a year later, you come back, that's not going to be a path to success. It is no different with digital marketers or SEO people, web people. It's no different because they may, and I say they may know what they're doing, but they don't know you. They don't know your business. They don't know your goals. What you bring to the table is relevant. And in order to engage with these folks in an effective way, you have to have an understanding of these concepts. And I commend you guys for being in here and doing that. All right, so in our earlier conversation, for those of you that were in it, we focused a lot more on the marketing side of things, SEO, driving traffic, paid ad stuff, a little bit of voice search, AI search. So that's the marketing side, that's the traffic side. This talk here is what happens after we get the traffic. This is those online sales conversions, online, right? So we're gonna go down what that looks like. So let's just jump right into it. Conversion is all about trust. All right, anyone who's in the sales world, if you can't get somebody to trust you, it is very hard to get them to buy from you. You first, as a great salesperson, will establish trust before they go in for the sale, and you should, right? So conversions, sales are all about trust, and boy, do we have a huge trust crisis right now. So right now, the way things work out, I, as a consumer, I don't trust you. I don't trust that you're qualified. I don't trust you're reliable. I don't trust you're professional. I honestly don't even trust, as a consumer, I don't even trust that you are who you say you are. There's so many scams out there. It's unbelievable, right? We all know there's a lot of scams out there, right? Like, phone rings and you're like, spam, right? Like, it's just, this is the world we live in. The consumer doesn't trust you. And hopefully you're clear about that. I, as a consumer, this is a weird thing that's relatively new as of the last decade or so. I, as a consumer, I don't even trust myself, right? I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to make bad decision look stupid. I have a confidence problem. Am I making a bad decision by going with you as opposed to somebody else, right? So I have a fear. So I have confidence problems. I have fear. And I'm concerned about what I'm missing out on, FOMO, the fear of missing out. If I do choose to go with you, I'm not choosing to go with somebody else. And maybe the other person is better than you. Maybe I'll have a better experience with them. Maybe they use better products. Maybe they have a better warranty. Maybe they're cheaper, whatever it is, right? FOMO is a real thing these days in ways that it never used to be. Part of that is because there's so much choice, there's so much information out there, way more than ever used to be. So these are problems. So I, as a consumer, I don't trust you, and I don't trust even myself. That's a problem. I actually don't trust anybody, right? We live at a time, very strange time, right? There's a lot of weird questions going on there, and you know what? Some of those questions aren't so weird. What was going on with that COVID vaccine? What's up with those drones in New Jersey? Whatever. Was the election stolen? Does the media ever tell the truth about anything, right? Like, this is the world we live in. No, regardless of how you feel about it, whatever side politically or whatever your beliefs are, we can all agree that these are real things that are happening out there in this world. And that, of course, affects consumers. This is the world we live in. Back in a little bit of a history lesson, because it's going to come back to play in a bit. Back in the 1970s and before, forever in American history, before the 70s and including the 70s, the biggest problem was always money, right? The money consumers identified that money was their biggest problem. When they were making buying choices, they just didn't have enough money. They were either going to get this thing or they were going to save up for a little bit longer and maybe get this other thing, but they weren't going to get both, right? It was kind of one or the other, right? So that money was always the biggest problem. Then in the 80s and 90s, it turned into time. For the first time in American history, it changed. The American consumer, time was the biggest problem. Too busy, we don't have enough time. So if you sold a product or a service that solved the time problem, or you provided a service in such a way that it made it easy for people to work with you, you were gonna save them time, that was a winning formula. Time became the number one thing. Now, money didn't go away. It was the second most important item, but time was the key. 2000s, trust. By a mile, US consumers identify trust as the biggest issue. That's the thing that you have to get over. More than money, more than time, it's trust. Now, those other things are still there, but trust is the biggest issue. And that, again, that's going to come into play later when we start talking about sales. But that is, I mean, the data is off the charts that trust is the biggest issue. All right, so how do we gain trust? Well, there's trust with Google, which has a lot more to do with traffic. And then there's trust with people that has a lot more to do with sales, right? But without any traffic, we can't get sales. So we are gonna go back to a little bit of a marketing, a little bit of a traffic drive, because if I don't have traffic to my website, I can't get leads. And if I don't get leads, I'm not getting sales. So we can't I know this is a sales talk, but we gotta talk about the traffic piece at least a little bit, or this doesn't mean anything. So one important question is, does Google trust you? If Google doesn't trust you, Google is not going to rank you. All right? Does Google trust you more than your local competitors? That's a big deal. In the fence industry, I'm here to tell you that generally speaking, the trust score, which I'm going to show you in a minute for fencers, is terrible. It's terrible. But we're all in the same race. Sometimes you win because you're good. Sometimes you win because you suck less. Right? That if your competitors suck more than you do, then sometimes one tortoise beats another tortoise is kind of the situation there, right? So the thing is, like, does Google trust you, but do they trust you more or less than your local competitors? That's the key here, right? So you can get an answer. Does Google trust you? We can get an answer to that, right? There is a score. There is a number score. Google's a computer. What is your trust score? How many people in this room right now, well, first of all, let me go there. How many people in this room right now have a website for your business? So that is essentially the whole room. How many in this room that have a website know what your Google trust score is? One. Why do you know?
Because we hire you as a consultant, and I have an SEO guy. Mine's 11 right now, up from 7.
Awesome. Good. Excellent. All right. That's cool. Thank you. That was great. That's the best answer ever. All right. So I would suggest as a geek that your Google trust score is every bit as important as a whole lot of scores. Your bank account number, any of the numbers that are important to your business, in your spreadsheet, what's your gross revenue, what's your net, what's all these things. I would say that your Google trust score is that important, because guess what? If your Google trust score sucks, it's affecting all those numbers. If your Google trust score is high, it's affecting all those numbers in the other way, right? So here is a look at an actual test. This is it right here. Your trust score right here. Bam. It's a number. You can run it. This is a free test. I will make sure you guys have a link when we send out. You can run this yourself. You can simply put your website address in and you can get a trust score. And then you can now all these other numbers, by the way, all these numbers mean things, right? Right now we're focused only on trust, but all these other numbers do mean things. But the trust is a big one, right? But the trust gets really valuable Very helpful when you look at your trust versus the trust of your other competitors. And you can now see sometimes, and it's all over the board. We have seen examples where sometimes guys are getting their butts kicked. They're like, when you look at the Google rankings, they're lucky if they break top 10 for any keyword. And if you're not like top 3, you're not getting much traffic, right? So if you're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're like, you might as well be on second page just about. So, and guys are way down low. And then we run the numbers and like, dude, their trust score is like just a few points behind, just a few, like you're close. You just got to step it up a little bit. We've also seen it the other way where guys were way out in front. We've been doing fence for 40 years. We're the leader. We're killing everybody. We're number one for everything. But a couple of new young hotshot companies came in a year ago, 2 years ago, and they're throwing a ton of money at Google and at their SEO people, and their trust scores are flying. And here this company's sitting here thinking that they're in great shape, and they're literally only a couple of points ahead and just about to lose all their rankings, and they didn't even know it was coming, right? So this is a big deal. So if you guys want, and I'm going to keep this on here because this is a different QR code, and I would need you guys to fill this out if you want it. If you want to, you can get a full digital health report, right? We'll run the whole, not just your trust, we'll run the whole report. We'll check out all the stats for you, and we present it in a video to explain what everything is. It's free. I'm not going to spam you. Everybody here should be looking for this report because it'll help you understand exactly where you are, right? So I'm going to leave this up for a second because I see some people still taking it. So anyway, you can get the answers that you need here about your trust very quickly, and then we're going to move back over to the sales side because I know it feels like we're kind of off to the side here, but this is just so important. We have to. I had mentioned this a little bit in our earlier talk, but I'm going to hit this home just a little bit harder here. Some of the factors that go into trust. Now, the major factors are not on this list because the major factors are things y'all don't have direct control of. But some of the factors that you have control of that could affect your trust with Google is duplicate content. Right? If you copied content from some other website and you just dropped it in, let's say that you guys sell active yards for aluminum and vinyl maybe or something, and so you're like, well, we sell active yards products. That's what we install. So we just go to active yards and we just grab their content and just drop it in our website. Google will say copy paste. That's duplicate content. You'll get hammered for that. That's a problem. All right. If you go to ChatGPT or any other AI tool and you ask, the various prompts and you're like, give me whatever, give me a full page about the benefits of aluminum fence or whatever it happens to be. And like, it's great content, hard to write that kind of quality content unless you're a professional writer. It's very tempting to do that. The problem is Google knows that this content was generated with AI and it'll let you use it to a degree, but if you use too much AI generated content, not only doesn't it help you, but it'll hurt you. So you got to pay attention. One of the things that terrifies me, man, I hate this, is I've seen it. I've heard stories and I've seen it firsthand where folks, maybe like yourselves, go out and they hire a local web guy or maybe some other agency. I don't know, maybe he's not a local guy, I'm not sure. But they hire a web person, and that web person generated the content using AI. You don't know that. You hired them. You thought they're doing the right job, and you think you're paying good money to get help, and they're killing you in the background because Google will slap that down. That's a problem. It's a thing. We see it all the time.
Because I've talked to other people like you, and this is the first time I've ever heard this. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just wondering.
Yep.
How do you know this, and what makes this true?
Whew, that's a tough one. All right, so let's talk about the process of how this happens. So I mean, this would be that. So my challenge to you is to go to Google and do a search for, does AI generated content hurt my rankings or whatever, and you'll see plenty of stuff out there. It's out there. It's all over the place. So that's actually an easy one to answer that way. But the process of how it happens is that. So for those of you that use a computer a fair amount, like, have you ever noticed, like, when you copy, like, a block of text and then maybe you go paste it into, like, I don't know, Google Docs or Microsoft Word or something, that it brings the formatting with it, right? It's not just the words, but like it's, you know, it brings the bold, it brings the font size, right? You guys see a lot of head nods, you guys. So when it brings that formatting, that is metadata behind the text. It's not just the text that you're bringing metadata with it. And in this case, this is formatting metadata. So, but AI generated content also has metadata behind it that indicates that it was AI generated. So that's how Google even knows that it was generated that way. So it's easy for Google to parse that. And there is metadata, by the way, all right, let's really geek out on this for a second. There's a metadata tool that you could use as a browser plugin that can tell you if you have a question, did my web designer generate this content using AI? There's a browser plugin that you can use that if the metadata is there for that, like it could tell you. That's good. Right, that's worth admission, right? That's worth the price of admission, right there.
Company that keeps up with my website and everything, and I mean, they tell me straight up, like, this is how you do it. You use AI to put it in a whatever you want to write, whatever we want to write about whatever we're posting, use AI, and they blatantly use it. It's all out in the open. So either they know nothing about it, they don't care, or
do a Google search, man. You'll have an answer in like 5 minutes, man. It's right out there for you.
that's crazy.
Yep. It's a great question. It's, you know. Where was it? All right, okay. AI generated keyword stuffing and spam. So some people, again, maybe you, maybe the web designer that you hired, right? The keywords are important. If you want to rank for a thing, earlier I was saying you have to have a page about that thing, but that page has to use the keywords, right? If I want to rank for aluminum fence, I got to make sure I use aluminum fence across that page, and then other terms that are related to aluminum fence. But if you do it too much, if you spam it, and Google understands what natural language is, roughly, don't hold me to this, but roughly 2% of the text content would have keywords like 1.7% or something. That's natural language. If you and I were talking, then I was talking about the Dallas Cowboys, which I don't know why the hell I would talk about them because they suck, but I'm a fan. I could call them out. But if we were talking about that, I would talk about the Dallas Cowboys, right? Because that's what I do. I'm such a big fan, I would talk about them, right? And in natural language, I would say Dallas Cowboys or Cowboys football or whatever, roughly about 1.7% of the time. If I used it too much more than that, it starts to sound a little weird. So SEO companies know that we can kind of pump that up to a little bit over 2%. Feels just a little odd, a little uncomfortable, but you're still roughly in the range. But if you use it too much, too many keywords, too much stuff, Google will see it, flag it, and say, no, you're trying to scam me here, man, spam me. And they will actually de-rank you for doing so. So again, it's dangerous. I hate when this happens, when good, well-meaning folks are doing the right thing. You're spending money, you're hiring somebody because they know what they're doing, and then they end up not knowing what they're doing, and you actually get hurt because of it, man. So it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. And then the one last thing to know about Google. Yes, sir.
What does Google expect you to do?
What is Google what?
Expect you to do.
Man, that is, dude, you set me up so well you don't even know it. Google expects you to do what .com does. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you. And if hold on to that question, because if at the end of this talk it's not clear, then let's revisit that question. But the simple answer is that Google, first of all, wants you to be authentic. Don't play games. Don't try to scam them and spam them. Like, be authentic. Now, what does Google want? So you asked, what does Google expect you to do? Google expects you to be authentic and real. But what does Google want in general? Google wants high quality content that is useful to the public. So because Google makes their money by advertising, right? That's how they make their money. And the only reason that they can make money advertising is because so many people use Google that advertisers are prepared to pay a lot of money to Google. So Google's interest is to make sure that you as searchers have a positive user experience. When I do a search for something, the results that they give me back are uncanny. They're good, right? I don't know how many of you guys remember the internet before Google got good, but when you were looking for something, man, those search results sucked. They were terrible. It was a hit and miss, right? Google is uncanny in its ability to give you the thing that you're looking for. So, but if they stop being so good at that, I'm going to stop using Google. I'll go somewhere else, and so would everybody else, right? That's why AI is so dangerous to Google. That's a whole other story. But so Google, so Google wants me as a searcher to have a positive user experience, which means good quality content, authentic, right? Good photos, good graphics, good video. Like if you're giving me this, I'm going to keep using Google. So that's what Google wants. And they want it authentically, not manufactured crap like SEO people tend to do, where they just pump in a bunch of keywords and copy paste a bunch of useless information. That's not authentic. That's not a positive user experience. Did I answer that well? All right. Now, so building trust with Google, critical. Building trust with people, also critical, but for other reasons, to complete the sale, right? Because none of you guys woke up one day and said, hey, man, I can't wait to spend money and time and effort on a website. No, you have a fence company. One day you woke up and said, hey, I need more sales. I need more leads. I want to retire one day. I want to send my kids to college. I want to do all that. And a website and Google ranking is a method to get there. That I believe, but right. So we actually need this website not only to get good rankings, but we have to make a sale, right? So how do we build trust with people? Well, let's go down a checklist here. Right here, number one way, this is not website, you'll notice, right? This is not all about website. This is digital, the whole thing. So the number one way to build trust is with your Google reviews. All right, that's the number one way. If you're not really serious about getting Google reviews, I'm gonna just ask you to reconsider that position. All right, now there's some great tactics out there. I hear it all the time. I hear fencers all the time like, man, I ask people, I'm having a hard time getting them. There's some really good tactics about what folks do to get Google reviews. We have coaching material on this very topic. What can I do to get more Google reviews? So, we can reach out. I will get that stuff to you. We got stuff on YouTube. I don't know if that particular topic is on YouTube or not, but we've got information that's out there and available. We're happy to share it, man. We're here for the community. I mean, we're standing here. I give everything away. I want you guys to be successful. So just whatever you need, we'll send it. But get Google reviews. Certifications and memberships, I call them badges, right? You guys are in the right spot right now. The AFA has all their different certifications. Get these things. Get all your memberships, your membership of the FWA, membership of the AFA, which probably all of you guys are, and all these different certifications. The public mostly has no idea what these certifications are or mean. The fence industry barely knows what these certifications are. Can we be honest? The alphabet soup of all this, the CFP, I don't know what all these things are, right? CGAG, CAG, and all these things, whatever. All right, but they may not know what these things are exactly, but the public understands the concept of certifications for sure. They understand when they see these badges that something went into that there's a lot of professionalism in achieving them, even if they don't know. So I've had a lot of fencers tell me, well, nobody has ever asked me if I was a certified this or nobody has ever cared about that. And I probably believe that, right? But they see it. If you put it on your truck and you put it on your website and all that stuff, they see it and they understand it means something, even if they don't know what it exactly means. There's other badges, right? Maybe you belong to local business groups like BNI or your local Chamber of Commerce or something like that, right? Get those badges on your website. So it's amazing to me how many fence companies have some of this stuff, but they don't put it on the website. These are all credibility builders, trust builders. That's what we're here for. We're trying to build trust, one little piece at a time. You don't build trust with a sledgehammer. Trust me, bam. That's not how that works. You build trust one little piece at a time. So all these things matter. Here's some other ones that matter. If you are, some of these manufacturers, some distributors have special designations. I'm an authorized dealer, a preferred installer, I'm a exclusive whatever, right? So check with whichever brands and distributors you guys use, check with these people and see what would it take for me to be this, to be a certified this or a authorized that or whatever. And sometimes you're closer than you even realize. Sometimes you might even be meeting the bar, but you just never ask the question. I'll be like, oh yeah, you guys sell over $1 million a year in Active Yards vinyl. So you are actually considered an authorized dealer. We just have to put you through a process and fill out paperwork or whatever, and then you got the badge. So these are things, ask. You won't know unless you ask the questions. There's other special designations. The Mr. Fence Academy is the main source of them, but he's not the only source. If you go through some of his trainings, you get certified this and I don't know, all his different, I don't know exactly what they are, but he's got a bunch of them. And so again, there was training, you get the badge, the public may not always understand what they are, but it's another badge. And you can line yourself up like a 5-star general, right? Because your competitors mostly aren't. So when I'm comparison shopping and I'm looking because I want to get 3 estimates for my fence, right? And I check out company A, company B, company C, and I see company A has all this stuff lined up and the other 2 don't. I notice that, right? And as a consumer, I might even actually ask at that point, right? Like, what is all that? And then that gets you into the conversation. Trust. Awards. All right, now this is mostly for my young fencers, and there's some in here. So I'm surprised sometimes how many people in the fence industry don't understand the whole best of thing, right? Like I'm the best of Naples Fence Company or whatever it is, right? So y'all know that nobody's going to come knocking at your door one day and be like, "Hey, congratulations, Bob, you've been voted best fence company in Naples," right? You know that will never happen. If you're waiting for that, you're going to wait a long time. That's not going to happen, right? For those of you that don't know, that you are the one that has to go and you've got to contact the radio station or the newspaper or whatever it is in your particular area and be like, yo, I know you guys give out this best of award. What's that all about? And then you are going to be, if you don't know, you are going to be sadly surprised at how crappy it actually is. Right, is that all really it's nothing but a marketing campaign on the part of the radio station or the newspaper for them to say, hey, all you got to do is post this link on Facebook and get people to vote and like it. And the more people that vote for you and the more people like it, then you'll be the best of fence company. As if one thing has anything to do with being the best fence company, right? Has nothing to do with installation, has nothing to do with years experience or anything, quality, nothing, complaints, nothing, has nothing to do with anything other than votes. But that's the way it works. I didn't make the system up. You didn't make the system up, but you can work the system. So if you care to, if you want to put the effort in, you could go contact your local newspaper, your local radio station, find out what the deal is, and then go out, get out the vote, and get set up. These guys, this is actually an old graphic because these guys keep doing it. I just now realized I haven't updated this graphic in a while. But I mean, if I was a consumer in the Sarasota area, I saw this, I would strongly consider using these people. These people are tearing it up, right? Tearing it up.
So couldn't I just go to Canva and make up my own and put whatever I want on there since it's not anything official?
Well, it is official. It is official because it is actually given by this group here. So that's tough, man, because as crappy as it is, and it is totally, it still is an official thing. And man, when you make up your own thing, whew, we're talking about trust. Oh man, you got, because here's the problem. Your competitors will call you out on it, right? The consumers may not know, but your competitors would be like, that's not even a real thing. This guy, and don't give, first of all, I always encourage everybody, not that you're not being, authentic or ethical. It's just a question, but I always encourage everybody, be authentic, be ethical. We need to be professionals, right? That's first and foremost. Don't cut corners. Let the other clowns cut corners. But all right. Photos. We're talking about trust. So we talked about badges. We talked about all this other stuff. Photos are a huge trust thing, trust builder. We trust faces, we trust people. We don't necessarily trust a truck, we don't trust a fence, but we can trust people for sure, right? And if you're doing this, show your eyes. The two factors that dictate trust most are eyes and the smile. All right, those are the two physical features that relate to trust more than anything else. I've seen people that are tatted up, gauged up, shaved head, the whole thing. But man, if they can give you a smile and light up their eyes a little bit and give you show a little bit of teeth and they can look a little friendly, that's somebody that we can trust. It's amazing, right? So get great photos, show your face, show you, show your people, show your face. This is a very personal thing. I don't have to tell you this, right? As whether I'm a husband or whatever. And like these people are showing up in my yard with my wife, my kids, my dogs, and they're there and I'm out at work. Like I want to make sure Charles Manson's not going to come in and axe murder my family while I'm at work, right? This helps. This helps. Show to face, show to people. The quality of photos matters. I'm going to just for inspiration purposes, I'm just going to take a second. I want to show you guys a couple of examples. It's so easy, but it's so impactful, right? Some of you guys might know Chris Gass. Here's his team, right? Just in front of a truck. It's very easy here. I love this. These guys are here, as a matter of fact. Jared, I saw Jared. I don't know if the rest of his team is here, but like it's great, right? You see these people. Hire a local photographer, take great photos. Now this is kind of cool because if you mouse over each one of these, there's something that happens. I forget what it is, but it's kind of interactive. It's good, right? That's the same company. They used a different photo somewhere else on the site. And again, same company, but this is a great shot, right? So I was saying like, I don't trust fences necessarily. I don't trust trucks. I trust people. But when you do things like this in conjunction with the other people, there actually is a trust value here because obviously, these guys have at least 5 high-quality work trucks here. There's a trust factor there because it's not just a single one-man show in a beat-up pickup truck. So that actually does show trust, just the size and scale of the company. A couple more. These guys are here. These guys are a fence company here in Salt Lake. But again, just showing their team. Here's a great one. Good Shepherd folks having some fun. This is on there. Where's Good Shepherd? Are they in the room? Yo! Call out to Good Shepherd. You caught me saying nice things about you. We can't have that. For the record, since I did call him out, Shane has the distinction of being the top visitor to the .com pool, right? Yeah, Shane has spent more time at the .com pool than any other fencer. So I love this, showing the company culture here, showing the people, right? It's not hard. There's another example. Again, I'm giving a couple extra examples because I just want to inspire some ideas and some thoughts. Again, here's a team in the office. This is fun. So each one of their team members has a regular photo this way, and if you mouse over it, they're doing something silly behind it. Right? It's a fun little way to show the personality. And the interaction of that is something I'm going to talk about in a minute, can actually help you with your rankings. And here's some of our .com team members. We follow our own rules here, right? Actually, there's Anna right there. Boom. I could start calling out Claudine. So this was actually last year at FenceTech. All right. So trust. Your website is your #1 conversion tool if it's good. And it's also a massive trust building tool. And again, this is for sales. And I had mentioned in previous talk earlier this morning that your homepage is your trust page. I said about it earlier. Before you go and you give the hard sell to anybody, give them reasons to trust you. Show the team, hey, we've got people. If you happen to be so blessed to have a larger team, a facility, a number of trucks, show that, because we all know that that's not the case for all the fence companies, right? Is that if you have the strength, use the strength. Show that they can trust you because you've got a big operation. That's a trust thing, right? Show your photo, little signature, such a little detail here. Here's a message from the owner, and here's the owner, and here's a signature. And it's just little teeny tiny little trust factor there. Here's 3 reasons why you can trust us, whatever they have. I can't read them from here, but whatever they happen to be. I love the 3 reasons to trust us. No matter how you do it, no matter how you design it. There's a lot of reasons you could go. Family owned is one. Fully licensed and insured is one. 35 years experience, that kind of thing. Give me some other ones. Whatever. Professional, reliable, all that kind of stuff. So give people reasons to trust you. And if you could quantify it by things like, the fully licensed and insured is always a big one. 35 years, that kind of thing. So anyway, the home page is a trust page, not a sales page. You can sell on the other pages. If you want to sell a wood fence, sell wood fence on the wood page, right? You want to sell a vinyl fence, sell a vinyl fence on the vinyl fence page. That's totally fine. But on the home page, you're selling yourself. You're selling the fact that these people can trust you, that you're legitimate, you're authentic. If you can sell trust on the home page, you could sell any fence on any other page in the site. Right here, this is actually the older version of the Mr. Fence site. This is kind of the newer version. The older version here his trust bar, they got the warranty and unmatched experience, outstanding reputation. Those are 3 reasons why you could trust him. Any questions about that stuff? I don't think it's too deep, but maybe I spurred another question. All right, we'll keep moving on then. This is Sam's personal, I don't know, I'm gonna call it a pet peeve. It's like my mission. Let's call this my mission. People, this is the Sam's personal mission for the fence industry right here, right now. People want to see what they're about to buy. Somehow this is a detail that has completely escaped the fence industry for the most part. It's unbelievable. I hope that whoever's website I put here is not in the room right now, but I found a local company. Just saying, it was the very first company I found. I'm not even saying this is the best example. It was literally the first website when I did a search for Salt Lake City area, fence company, something like this. I didn't necessarily click on the number. I just clicked a link, and this is what came up. And so here's what we're seeing. Now remember, I'm a consumer. I'm about to buy something. Fences are not cheap. I'm not buying a t-shirt, right? These things are expensive. And somehow we feel like, as an industry, not each and every one of you, but as an industry, we feel like, oh yeah, we could do cedar fence. Here's a photo. Oh yeah, we could do chain link fence. Here's a photo of a chain link fence as an example. We could do ornamental iron, we could do vinyl. And for each, and the vinyl, like that's way back in the background. I can't even see the damn thing, right? And somehow we think that that's gonna give people confidence to buy an 8,000, 10,000, 20,000, wherever however big the fence is. These are not cheap items, and this one crappy photo is supposed to represent all of cedar fence. It's insanity. It's unbelievable. We know when you buy a car online, you see every single model, every detail, right? You go buy a car online because they give you one generic photo of a car and be like, you could buy a car. No, I want to see the car that I'm buying, right? Sofas, whatever. I mean, we could go all day. You want to buy a sofa? Do you want this one? Do you want this one? Do you want this one? Do you want this? We got all, just keep going. I want to see the thing that I'm buying. For goodness sakes, come on. This is McDonald's, oh, by the way, when's the last time you saw a Big Mac actually look like that? Come on, that's not like, these people should be sued. That's not truth in advertising. But we all know what these things look like, but they show them, hey, you like the chicken nuggets? Anyway, all right. Dude, you cannot even buy a nail online from Home Depot without, they show you the nail. They show you the box. They show you the box that the nails come in. That's how much we need to see. We buy with our eyes. We show every detail. You think Home Depot, and what else I do? McDonald's, I don't know who that was. Tesla, you think they haven't poured millions of dollars into understanding what causes people to buy? Take a lesson from these guys. If you want somebody to buy something, you need to be able to show it to them. Now, there may be people in the room like, oh, I never had a problem. I got a couple photos. I have no problem selling. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know how many sales you lost because you didn't have that. You don't know how many upgrades potentially you could have inspired somebody to buy something else if you could have just showed them and be like, oh, I never thought about that, right? You don't know what you don't know, right? So we do all this, but then we have this. It's not good enough. By the way, let's go take this a step deeper. with a Tesla or anything, like, oh, I want to see it in blue. I want to see it in red. I want to see it in black. Not only do I want to see the thing, but I want to see it the way that I want to see it. I want to see the options that I'm choosing. I want every single option, right? Look at the fries. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Like, they're showing you this is true. I'm not making this up. Go to McDonald's, go to Burger King, go all these places. They will literally, oh, I don't think I have it. Oh, it's too bad. I forgot. I meant to add the slide. If you go to McDonald's, this is ridiculous. If you go to McDonald's and you go look at their drinks, they will show you, it's just cup. Small Coke, medium Coke, large Coke. It's just, all you do is looking at different cups, right? You don't even see the Coke. It's insanity. But it drives the point home. If you want to sell a thing, you got to show the thing. But we do this. It's unbelievable. So let me see if I can inspire you guys a little bit. Again, we're going to slow down a little bit. This is a little bit different than my earlier talk where we were just blowing through. I'm hoping to inspire you guys a little bit. So here is an example of what you potentially could do with, let's say, wood fence. And I'm going to get a chance. This is now me getting to show off the work that my team does. So these are all hand drawn. My artists are ridiculous, right? And so we're able to do this. We could show everything that you want to see. Oh, you want to see this in cedar? Boom, we could do that. Oh, you want to see this where we drive the posts? We're not using wood posts, we're using round tube. Boom, we have the whole set of that. Postmaster, you want to see what it looks like? Like it's the same fence, but we got little Postmaster posters sticking out the bottom, right? Like you want to see it? Boom, we could do it, right? So show them their options. So these are the styles. Now let's look at the options. Oh, we have all kinds of different custom top finishes. We could dog ear, we could cap and trim, we could lattice top, we could sunrise, sunset, flat top, concave, whatever you call it, right? We could do all that. We could show them all the options. Now maybe y'all don't do all these options, but show them what their options are. Hard to do with photos. So hard to do with photos. That's why we hand draw all these things so you can show anything. Right? It's hard. We can do this fence, we've just never been asked to do it. Or we can do this fence and we did do it, but we didn't get good photos of it because by the time we finished it, the sun was low, the light sucked, it was a cloudy day, and my foreman left a garden hose out in front and a shovel leaning against the fence. And so, it's hard to do this with photos, but that's how we do it here. Whatever, dude, we could do this all day. Hey, we do a whole bunch of different shadow box options. Here they are. Here we could do all kinds of different horizontal options. Here they are. We do picket options. Here they are, right? This works I like to show off the wood because the wood's prettier. You do the same thing with aluminum, do the same thing with vinyl, right? Show the people all the options. Oh, you want to see that in tan and not white? We got it in tan. We got black vinyl, whatever it is, right? Just show them. There's some silly little graphics you could show, like you could put like kind of options together and do all this stuff. But again, you can't shoot photos of this. That's why graphics are so helpful. And if you think about what all this stuff looked like with coming back here a little bit, so these were photos, but they're really, really well taken photos, right? Really well lit, and they cut the backgrounds out, and they do all that, and that's why in fence companies, you just can't do it. So that's why we do stuff like this, so that you can show it off perfectly, and consumers respond. Show people what they're gonna get. Because we're here talking about sales, and it's weird, right? Because right now, it's like we're showing the website, we're showing photos, we're showing graphics. Is that sales? No, this is a sales tool. This is a sales tool. Your salesman uses this tool. Even if they didn't go to your website, you have this. You could pull this up and you can show them all that stuff. So this is a great sales tool that should magnify and multiply the efforts of your salespeople. So those are the options. Let's talk about expert content. I love this. This is, I don't know, this fires me up. So I'm going to show you some more examples to kind of fire up your imagination. Some of this is going to apply to you, but I'm excited about the stuff that you're like, you know what? I didn't see this, but oh my gosh, if we did this thing, let me know what that is. We'll do it because I want all of it. I want all the awesome stuff. So expert content builds trust. If you happen to be running operations such that you allow people to choose their type of wood, pressure treated pine versus cedar versus whatever, if you do that, you can explain what the benefits are, right? You could show little graphics. If you have different post top cuts, the options, show that. And these graphics where you can show it all side by side by side by side. It just kind of oh, I had no idea. right? The consumer has no idea. They have no idea. But when you give them an idea, sometimes they get inspired. And when you get an inspired consumer, they pay more money, right? This can lead to way higher sales ticket prices, your average ticket price. You know, again, expert content, no matter what type of post you guys use, and if you wrap it in all the different ways, if you can show people how you drive, post, and install, whatever, right? Expert content. Obviously, there would be written stuff next to this to explain things, right? You can talk about post depth, all these, just all these zooms about how this all works. If you are trying to convince somebody that you're professional, you do things the right way, that these types of graphics can help you explain that. It makes it real. Instead of a concept and just words and your lips flapping, it becomes way more concrete because you can point to something and say, hey, this metal post is stronger, it doesn't rot. Like we got a zillion graphics that demonstrate all that, but you won't see it because we wrap it in wood and it's pretty and you can show that instead of it makes it. How about this one? How many people have trouble explaining to people the different, how about that, right? Like this, no matter what you do, we can rack it, we can contour, we can step it, we could build retaining wall underneath, right? And all those different options, and you could just have it and just show it on all those communication issues that happen. Trust. You show them, hey, I've been down this road before, right? Like here, this is, oh man, you got a sloped yard. Look, these are all the different ways we can handle that. Instant trust. These guys know what they're doing. They've dealt with it before. They've been there before. Again, all the different stuff. Warranty, this is a silly one. This is such a silly one, but it's so true. You can talk about your warranty. You could even say, you could use words. We have a 2-year, 3-year, lifetime warranty on materials if you use that type of product, and a 3-year workmanship warranty, or whatever your warranty happens to be, right? But when you put a graphic to it, and then you put like a 5 there, 5-year right there. It's just a graphic. It makes it real. It's more concrete. It just is. It's proven. It's just more real. You know, no matter, again, all this expert content. This is about postmaster post. We use steel frame gates. Whatever. We do pre-staining, and here's why pre-staining. Just a little visual. Yes, you can just talk about it, but there's just something about a visual that just makes it more real. And if it makes it more real, it makes it more trustworthy. And if you're more trustworthy, you're going to close a higher percentage of your sales. This is all about trust, all sales. Concepts, how do we deal with property lines? What do we do with obstructions? How do we handle building permits? Again, do you need graphics to show that? Not necessarily, but it makes it real. You want to talk about pool fence. Got all kinds. Dude, aren't these graphics ridiculous? These are hand-drawn. Come on. Man, my team, they're unbelievable. You want to talk about heights, styles, transitions, all that kind of stuff. So, talk about ridiculous. All right. So your website is your best sales tool if it's a great website. If it has a lot of great content, a lot of great graphics, a lot of great written content, it absolutely is the best sales tool you'll ever have, right? This is your checklist. Show your customers your selection of styles. Again, remember that these notes are available, these videos are available, so you don't have to remember this. Show the styles. These are all the different style options. Show the options and the upgrades, right? Like some of you are like, no, we don't want to do all that. We don't want all those options. We don't want to do lattice top. We don't want to do cap and dry. I don't know, whatever it is. But others are like, dude, hell yes. I wish I sold more lattice top. Like that instantly raises my ticket price. I would love that, but I never sell that. Nobody ever goes for the extra cost of the cap and trim, and it's so easy, but we can mark the whole fence up by 10% if I add 2 boards, right? Like it's crazy, right? But we never sell it. Well, you're not selling it because you're not showing it, right? You have to inspire people to be like, dude, I never thought about that. That's awesome. I want that. An inspired consumer will spend more money. Instill confidence with your expert installation. Answer the questions. I didn't show anything here. That's my fault. Answer the questions with FAQs. This is too easy. Look, if you've been in the business for any length of time, you know the questions that you're going to get. You know what they are. So put them down on the website. Put it there, right? Like whatever it is. What's your warranty for this? Do you, does does your wood rot, warp, twist, whatever? Yeah, I 100% guarantee that my wood is going to rot, twist. I mean, I don't know that you're going to say it like that, but like whatever those questions are, what percent deposit do I need to get started? How long, whatever those things are, you know what they are, answer them then. Because an unanswered question is a roadblock to sales. Right? You can get these guys inspired. You can answer question, answer question, answer question. They might have 10 questions. If you answered 9 of the questions perfectly, but one of the questions was left unanswered, that's a non-sale. Right? Lack of clarity leads to inaction. And inaction in this case means you didn't get the sale. All right? And show plenty of examples of your photo gallery. This is what you need to do to improve your sales. I'm going to show you a couple, again, some other inspirational examples and a story. Actually, the gentleman, he's not in here. One of our clients, he's the guy. I just saw him. I was having lunch with him just a few minutes before this. So he came to us, and this is work that he likes to do. Gets these beautiful arbor entrance gates to the backyard, right? Does this stuff. He loves this, right? And I think it's brilliant, by the way, because once you can inspire somebody, like for those, not everybody wants this, but anybody that wants that kind of stuff, are they counting nickels? There's no way they're counting. They're spending a whole bunch of extra money to make that, to beautify that. And none of his local competitors have, I don't know if they do it or they just don't show it, but he's the only guy. So he marks up his entire fence. Besides the cost of doing whatever that is, the entire fence markup is another 15% on top of what he normally would have charged just because he's doing this. And you can't price shop that because none of his competitors can prove out that they can do this the way he can. So we made up some graphics, we inspire people, this guy's ticket price goes up. It's amazing. You show people options, some people, not everybody, some people will choose the option. So I want to talk about this graphic here for a second because this now is going to lead into another thing. So, trust, again, this isn't necessarily a trust thing per se, but this is a great place to talk about this. Interactivity, the way people use your website, is part of the Google ranking, right? So the more people scroll down your page, that Google sees that as a positive user action. People click on things, that's a positive action, right? If people spend time on it on the page longer, that's a positive action. All those positive actions lead to higher rankings, right? A graphic like this stops people in their tracks and it allows you to show off what you're doing here. It's all clickable, right? So somebody clicks this, I'll be like, oh, what's this? Oh, pool code fencing. And then of course we could put anything we want behind it. We could put photos, full color graphics, whatever, you could explain it. There could be links to your pool fence page, right? You could do all that kind of stuff. But it's like, and once a consumer clicks one of these, they click every one of them. Because there's just curiosity. Oh, I wonder what's behind here. Oh man, these guys could do custom railings, right? We'll do here. Oh, decorative trash enclosure, like whatever. And the more creative you get, there could be videos behind this thing. So click, 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 click. We're getting more and more user actions. People just can't stand it. They want to see. Like some of these we do where you hover over and the gate opens up and it's like, oh, that was cool. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Hover, 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 hover. More user interactions, right? So these kinds of things keep people on your page longer. It gives you a chance, even though they're on the vinyl fence page, let's say, it gives you a chance to remind them like, hey, we also do vinyl railings. Hey, we also do these vinyl trash enclosures. Or, hey, we also do vinyl gates, right? And you could actually capitalize on that and shoot them and educate them as to other things that you're doing. It's awesome. It's awesome. So, all right. Yeah. All right. I don't know, man, we're a little bit all over the board here, but again, most of this part of this talk is I'm just trying to inspire you to show you the possibilities, because if you don't know that these are possibilities, these are things that you'll never do. But now that you've seen, like, man, that gives me some ideas, right, and helps you maybe think of things a little bit differently. Yes, sir?
So with your trust, how much, so the green credentials of your products, I noticed you don't mention that, and also your company's involvement in the community for building trust. How do you rate those?
Yeah, so, all right, so the second part I heard, your company's involvement in the community. What was the first part?
the green credentials of the products that you're using.
Oh, the green credentials. Okay. So I don't know that I could speak to the green credentials as much. Some people care about it. I mean, our data shows some people care about it, some people just don't. If you are using products that are like recycled vinyl or something like that, you know, there's some folks that'll be like, I'd never touch the crap. It's brittle. It's not right. We only use virgin vinyl and that kind of stuff, right? So that's the thing. But whatever, getting away from that, I don't want to get into that argument. That's an argument. Like we should or shouldn't talk about that. I'm sorry I even began to wade into that pool. Consider me outside of that pool again. But the green attributes of your products, I personally have not seen any data that shows that moves the needle in any real way. If you as a business owner, if that's meaningful to you and that's something that you believe in and that's a value that your company, then by all means, like please go tout that, because we're allowed to have our own beliefs and care about things even if it doesn't have consumer feedback, right? So if that's something that's meaningful for you, I say go ahead and do it. I don't see any data that suggests that it moves the needle. The other part was, what's wrong with community? Oh, community involvement, 100%. There's a lot of other trust factors that we don't have time to go over here, but you asked the question, so let me talk about it. Please, be a good community member, right? Support the Little League, build a home, build a fence for a veteran or whatever it is. Go do those things. Give money to whatever group that you guys care about. One of the things that I love about the fence community, but it sucks, is that the fence community are just such good people, and they're giving and they're caring and they do this, but then they don't come back and say, hey, I want to get a photo with this Little League team that I'm sponsoring, or I want to show the impact that I made for this veteran. And like, we don't go and get that photo thing or whatever that promotional item is. Please go do it. Go do the great thing, but then you need to get something back for it so you can show it on your website. But community involvement is absolutely a thing. It's definitely a trust builder for sure. All right.
Would that be like on your heading page or about us page?
Definitely, like the company. So the company page. So some of our folks that we work with. Yo, look who's in the house. All right. How you doing, big guy? I love those shirts. Those are my favorite shirts. Yes, sir. Branding is right. Look at that. What's on the screen? Right there. Perfect timing. You think that was a setup. All right. If you have a little bit of community involvement, you're involved in like one or two kind of organizations, put it on your company page. Things, our values, what we do in the community, that kind of thing. There are some folks we work with that do a lot. They support a lot of things. They're very active in the community, and it would be totally appropriate to have a full dedicated page for that thing. So it really kind of turns out to be a quantity thing, I think. But and social media. Yeah, but get it on the website also, but definitely then they could be social posts. And talking about social, because we talked about trust, there's nothing like social media to build trust. So that's a little bit outside of the scope of what I was going to talk about here, but that's probably a mistake on my part, honestly, because social media is a great trust builder. And I probably need to, Aaron, if you could remind me, I want to update this presentation in the future because we need to include that. But when you do that, like when you're posting on social media, just a couple of words about that, right? A diversity of content and messages is great. It's important. So one of the mistakes that I see, or I'm going to call it a mistake, but one of the things that I think that could be improved on is that some guys are just like, hey, look at my pretty fence. Here's another pretty fence. Here's another pretty fence. Here's another pretty fence. And guess what? Next Tuesday is going to be another pretty fence. And 2 weeks from now is going to be another pretty fence, right? And that's the message. Is like pretty fence, pretty fence, pretty fence. We need to be a little deeper than that, right? So a diversity of message. Hey, here's a homeowner that we impacted with this fence. Here is a couple of pretty fences, because that's what we do. We need to do that for sure. Here's some of my team members. We're going to celebrate the 5-year work anniversary of our foreman and show that we care about that. Here's a thing we did in the community, right? Show a diversity of topics, not just one thing. So, and I say that because there are some companies that do a lot of work in the community, and it feels like sometimes, there's one company in particular I'm thinking of, I've talked to them about this recently, is that it's like, this is what we did in the community, and that's what we did in the community, and that's what we did in the community. And after a while, you're like, do you still do fences, or are you in philanthropy? Like, right, the message gets mixed up. All right, let's talk about brand. We cannot talk about trust. We cannot talk about sales if we do not talk about brand. It would be marketing malpractice if I did not talk about brand. So here we go. The brand is how you tell the world who you are. You control your message. What the world thinks about you is 100% in your hands. Even if you don't necessarily recognize that and realize it, I'm telling you it's true. You tell the world who you are, and the world will reflect it back to you eventually. You stay on message, you create a message, right? So your brand is not just your logo. Man, so many times I hear that. Oh yeah, here's my brand, and they hand me a logo. I'm like, that is not your brand. That's part of your brand, but that's not your brand. Your brand is how you look, right? It is your logo, it's your colors, it's all that stuff. It's your vest and flat cap. You've got a personal brand and you have a company brand. It's how you speak and what you say. The words that you use are part of your brand. At .com, we have a dichotomy. We say something is awesome or it sucks. If you were in my earlier talk, you heard a lot of that, right? It was you're awesome or it sucks. There's no in between. That's the words we use. I never talk about search engines. I always talk about Google. It's only Google, right? That's how we do it. There's a way to talk. You guys come up with things that your salesmen say and things that your salesmen do not say. There's a value option that you guys offer, but there sure as hell is not a cheap option. Who's with me on that? You do not offer a cheap option. We have an entry-level option, right? Maybe you called it, we have a standard option, we have upgrade. Their language is important. So if you have never had that conversation with your sales team, that these are the words we use to describe to the affirmative, and then these are words that we use to the negative, but there's words we just never use. And the only time I ever use the word cheap is when I'm talking about what the competition did. Okay? And so your brand is how you look, it's how you speak, and it's the experience that people will have when they work with you. So let's look at this. How you look, we call that, if you want to geek out on brand for a little bit, this is called your brand visuals. How you speak and what you say, that's your brand message. And then the experience they have, that's your brand promise. Every one of these companies, every one of these things has a brand. I want to explore a couple of these because, again, some of you are very clear on brand. Some of you maybe need a little bit of help to get there. So Starbucks, let's start. I'm not going to do every one of these, but let's start with Starbucks really quickly. I do not drink coffee. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life. It's just not what I do, right? But my wife does, and she likes Starbucks. And Starbucks has such a strong brand that even me, who doesn't drink coffee, if I close my eyes, I can picture just some random Starbucks, what it looks like. I could smell what the Starbucks smells like, right? You guys with me? Right? You could just picture. If you walked into a place that looked too much different than a normal Starbucks, you would notice it. If you walked in and the smell was too much different, you would notice it. That is part of that. That's their brand experience, their brand promise. That's the experience they're delivering. Every one of these has different branding issues. Tesla certainly has certain brand features that you guys know. The IRS, how many of y'all know that IRS has a brand? The brand is, I don't want to go anywhere near the IRS. The brand is, if I get a letter from the IRS, I crap myself, right? That's the brand. Now, maybe that's intentional on their part, maybe not, right? But that's the brand. That's what happens when you don't control your brand and you let the public control your brand. This is what happened to 7-Eleven. Now, different people in different parts of the country have different experience with 7-Eleven, which is interesting to me. In my part of the country, 7-Elevens are dirty and nasty and smelly, right? That's just generally how they are. 7-Eleven allowed a bunch of their stores to just not be taken care of well, so that now the brand in my part of the country for 7-Eleven is, that's a crappy place I don't want to go into. So much so that they opened up a brand new 7-Eleven right across the street from me about a year and a half ago. Brand new. There's no way it's dirty, crappy, and smelly, right? It's brand new. But there was so much, and I love Slurpees, by the way, I love Slurpees, but it was so much in my head that it took me almost a full year and a half before I thought of, I was going miles down the road to go to another convenience store, passing by the brand new 7-Eleven because their brand sucks that much, at least in our part of the country, right? That is a company not controlling their brand. Donald Trump has a brand. You may love him, you may hate him. I'm not going to take a side on that, but he has a brand. And in politics, just to give, because business and politics, there's a lot of crossover in some cases, the other side tries to control the brand, right? So that's one of the things that happens is the other side tries to define the brand. Trump is a racist, Trump is a sexist, Trump is a this. That's that message, Trump lies, right? Whether you believe all that or not, that's not my point. The point is that's what happens in politics. The one side tries to define, the other side tries to define the brand. It's your job as a business to define your brand. What is your message? What is the experience working for you? Let's talk, this is you telling the world how much to pay you. Watch this one, this is gonna be good. You guys are gonna like this. Your ability to sell, who you sell to, and how much you sell it for, and this is where the antenna should go up, are all tied directly to your brand. I'm gonna give you a couple, and fence companies completely suck at controlling their brand. Let me show you a couple of examples, and then we're gonna put this in fence. So these are three basically the same cups. I don't know, Ozark Trail, that cost you about $7. Aspire cost you a little more than $7. Yeti cost you $35. It's the same cup. You go into my house, we have nothing but Yetis. We voluntarily pay 5 times more for the same cup because it has a brand on it. Who's with me? Anybody else with me? Right? Yeah, right? So do you think that their attention to their brand has paid off for them? It's the same cup, basically. Do we have any .com Yetis with us, by the way? Oh, hold them up, guys. Hold them up. .com Yetis. There they are. Proof in the pudding right there. All right. Black T-shirts. Walmart, $4.60. Target, $4.66. Almost the same. Nike, $30. It's a black T-shirt. How many of you guys own a Nike T-shirt? You're paying, what's that? 7 times more money almost. 7 times more money because of the brand. So tell me that controlling your brand isn't important. It's important, right? This is a little bit different, but mostly true story, mostly true. These guys, we got a solar company to come over and give us an estimate. And this one company gave us a $54,000 estimate to do our roof. Then we were looking, we had Tesla come over for the solar roof. They gave us that estimate. My wife and I had serious discussions for a couple of weeks about whether we were going to do that. Thank God we decided against it, but it was a legitimate conversation. Is that insane? Because Tesla has that strong of a brand that we honestly were considering, but we trust Tesla. It's gotta be a good product and all this stuff, right? It's the thing, it's brand. All right, now if you're thinking, yeah, but I'm doing fences, man, they're just fences, right? Dude, that was just a cup, and that was just a T-shirt. So don't ever fall into the trap that this is just fences. And if you can brand a cup to get people to spend 5 times more for a cup, then you could definitely do something with your brand where you could get people to spend 10%, 20% more on your fence. But you got to control the brand. What makes you different? This is part of your brand. This is a key component of your brand. What makes you different? Mr. Red Shirt guy here, from blah, blah, blah fence company. We do fences the right way, right? And then we get another estimate from Mr. Blue Shirt guy, and I'm from, it's all blah, 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 blah. We don't know. There's a lot of talking. We care more, right? Mr. Pink Shirt, you can count on us, right? These are all the things that I hear. We build fences that last. We're not like the other guys. We build a solid fence. We're better. We're the best, right? These are all the messages that come out. Blah, blah, blah. Then you get Mr. Green Shirt guy, this idiot, comes in here and he's like, we're just like everybody else, but we're cheaper. How many have Mr. Green Shirt guy in your market? Right? And the idiot wins. The cheap guy wins. And he wins because it's the only message that actually made sense. We're better, we're the best. Like this one here, let me go back. I skipped this one. Our fences meet ASTM standards, as if anybody has a clue what the hell that is, right? But like that's the thing. I've heard it. There have been people in this room that I have asked in the past, like, tell me what your pitch is. Our fences meet ASTM standards. That's not a winning brand, guys. That's not a winning message. It may be true, and it may be the key to building a good quality fence, but it's not a good marketing and branding message. All right, so we got this. The idiot wins because his message made sense. If you, and some people are gonna feel it right here, right now. If you find yourself thinking over and over again that people only care about price, it's because you have not given them anything else to care about. If you keep saying the only thing that people care about is price, it's because you did not give them anything else to care about that was compelling to them. Because don't forget, their biggest concern is not money. Their biggest concern is trust. This is why I said we're going to circle back around. Their biggest concern is trust, then time, then money. So if you keep finding that people that you're thinking they only care about money, man, you're missing it. That's not true. It's not true. It's just that you have not figured out a way. And when I say you, your salespeople or whatever, have not figured out a way to get a message through the noise that is compelling to your customer. So if you keep losing to the idiot, that is the market telling you that your brand sucks. You got to tighten it up. You got to fix it. All right. So here we go. Let me check my time. We're good. So last year, I spoke to over 700 fence companies in rooms like this, one-on-one, small group, whatever. There's over 700 different fence companies. And here is the message. Here's the message that I heard over and over and over again. We are basically the same as everybody else. Like, we're a fence company, right? How different can a fence company be? This is what they're saying to me. We're basically the same as everybody else, but we're better. We're basically the same as everybody else, but we're better. We care more, whatever the heck that means. I don't know how that comes out in the fence, but we care more. You can count on us. We're dependable. We don't cut corners. We're the same as everybody else, but we don't cut corners. We build fences the right way. Blah, blah, blah. Everybody says that. It may be true. I don't know. But you got to know that everybody says it. Every one of your competitors is saying the same thing. Every one of them, except for the guys that know that they're the idiot, Mr. Green Shirt guy, the cheap guy. He knows that he's just out there based on price. But other than him, these guys, everybody says the same thing. We do it the right way. We're better. We care more. We don't cut corners. Right? Everybody says that. That is not a winning message. That is this idiot. That is a better message. I'm just like everybody else, but I'm cheaper. That's a message I can understand. That's on you. You got to get a better message. All right. So let's talk about branding a little bit. I don't know why this is in here. This is my character over the years. I got a little more jacked over the years. My character did anyway. I don't know. New and struggling fence companies do the Me Too. This is way before the Me Too movement. They ruined my whole presentation here. All right. Me Too. Yep, we do that too. I'm a fence company. Yes, I do that too. Vinyl fence. Yep, we do that too. Wood. Yep, we do that too. You guys do residential? Yep, we do that too. Right? That's a Me Too approach. I do that too. That's where most brand new fence companies are. Unfortunately, that's also where a fair number of established fence companies are. We do that too. Right? How you win is just show up, but you got to show up fast. You got to show up. You got to be one of the first ones there. Right? Your responsiveness is key. You can win. You can be a Me Too fence company, and you can win if you hustle your butt and you get there fast. If you have a great personality and people like you, they're just drawn to you and they like you, you can win just being Me Too because people want to work with you because you're just that dynamic personality. You can win on price. We do fences too. We're just cheaper. So Me Too is not a place that leads to long-term success. There's Me Too, there's Me Better. This is not a bad place. Most established fence companies live here in the Me Better. If you're doing a good job, you're in Me Better. And you win by educating the customer and the professionalism of showing up on time and looking a certain way and all, right? Yes. So you win on the ERS. We're faster, whatever it is, better, stronger, whatever the ERS. That's a Me Better. However, there is a Me Only. We're the only company that does this. Now, you got to define what the this is. That's the hard part, right? If you can find the Me Only space, you already won. You already won. See, and again, I'm giving you real world examples of what we do at .com. .com is a me only. There is nobody like .com. There is no agency that only works in the fence industry that has this team that we have and does what and works with everybody. Like there's nobody. These graphics and all this stuff. There's nobody. I don't have to do a me too or me better. Me better is how we're me only. That's it, right? So that wins. We found a path. We found a way to be the only one that does that. What's that?
Until you're not the only one.
Until you're not the only one, and then and you're right about that. So you have to make sure you're the only one. We're the only one that has an Emmy Award winning illustrator that worked for Stitch. You guys know Stitch? We got a guy that created Stitch, right? He's cool. We're the only one that had an illustrator that worked at NASA. We're the only one that had a programmer that did that. We're the only one that worked with Nike and Disney and Johnson. Oh, I don't even think I had that on the right? Like we are the only one, right? So you still have to be the only one. You have to figure all that out, but you're absolutely right. Because if you're successful enough, somebody will come and try to knock you off. So how the heck do you do the me only in the fence industry? Outside the scope of this topic, but I promise you, if you guys come to the booth and just visit with me when we have a little bit more time, we'll talk. I'll tell you some of the ways that some other fence companies have been able to position themselves in a me-only space that might work for you guys. How do you do it though? So here's a few examples. A lot of people in the room know who these people are. Right, Sean King and Mr. Fence and Mark Wilson from Successful Contractor and all these other guys. These guys, how is it that out of 55,000 plus fence companies in the US, so many of us know who these 5 or 6 people are? Because they got their brand right. They figured out a me only that made sense. And most of the fence industry understands who they are. And I promise you that their local market knows who they are just as well, right? So it can be done. It can be done. All right, so define your brand. I've got a checklist for you guys. We're not going to go over it here, but there's going to be notes if you want to talk about this more. We've got some videos about how you define your brand. So we're going to wrap this up here in just a minute. So I don't think Tesla makes a lawnmower, do they? I don't think they do. But if Tesla made a lawnmower, what are some of the features that lawnmower would have? Damn sure it'd be electric. Probably self-guided, right? Hopefully it wouldn't be as ugly as the Cybertruck, but whatever, we don't know. But that's how strong their brand is. That even though they don't make a product, that we could tell you, that we could think about what that product would be like. That's how strong that brand is, right? Yeti boots. I don't think does Yeti make boots? If Yeti made boots, tell me about the features. I'll tell you what, feet would be warm as hell. Right? It would never be cold, right? They're insulated, waterproof, high quality, right? We all agree. So that when you have a strong brand, you can start playing those kinds of games. If they did this, what would that look like?
It'd be $1,000 a pair.
And they'd be heavy. Because I've got a Yeti chair, a Yeti outdoor chair. It's an amazing chair, but dude, you better bring a wagon when you want to move that thing, because it's no joke. You're right. So here's a brand. I love this one. I always use this. So back in New Jersey, where I'm from before, there was a roofing company, and here was their slogan: "You call, we'll show up." Apparently, in the roofing business, it's that bad that their brand promise. That's it. And they're like, we got Jersey people. Am I telling the truth? Right? East Coast roofing inside, right? So that's it. You call, we'll show up. But I'll tell you what, this is their brand promise. They better deliver on that, right? They better show up. But it's so memorable because it's so straightforward. And the brand promise must have worked because it was a need in that industry. So this is not rocket science, right? You find a little niche in there somewhere that just strikes a chord of truth to it. This, again, I'm going to use .com as an example. Our slogan: your website sucks and Google hates you. Right? Like, and when I say that to people, people will be like, yeah, my website does suck, and whatever. Like, so that it's true. It's true. It captures truth. That's why it works. All right, I'm going to finish up with the story here, and then I'm going to let you guys go. So we're talking about sales. We're coming back around to sales. I know it feels like we went off base because of the brand, but the brand builds trust, and a great brand creates higher sales. It's right on point. The website being great and helping in the sales process, all of it. You'll notice not one time did I talk about your sales pitch, right? About how to close or any of that. That's traditional sales training. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about digital sales. You have to take care of the other things. So I want to tell you about this thing. It's a true story. So I call it the $150,000 screw. That's an expensive screw. And what happened was my wife and I were getting a pool, or we wanted to get a pool. And so we called a bunch of pool companies, and they came over, and the guy's like, hey, we're gonna do a pool here, and this is what it's gonna look like, and it's great. And the next guy, we're gonna do a pool, and this is what it looks like, and this was, and it's all good, it all sounded good. And then we had the guy that came in, took a totally different approach. And so again, I'm gonna share this story because I want to challenge you guys to think maybe a little differently. Some of you maybe don't think this way. And the guy came in, he's like, yeah, I see your vision, pool, yeah, gonna do this. He's like, but I can't help to notice, you guys have a beautiful home, you obviously care about your home, you're looking to upgrade this beautiful pool, and I just can't help to notice that in your cage, we're in Florida, you know how they have cages in Florida, they keep all the snakes and gators and stuff out, right? So they have a cage. He's like, and I can't help but to notice you have a beautiful cage, a beautiful home, but these guys used like these screws that are rusting. Like that's just bad details. Like they could have used these aluminum screws or what, I don't know anything about that stuff. We could have used aluminum screws. It costs like a penny more and they wouldn't have rusted. But it's those little tiny details that make a difference between a great job and not a great job. Your home is beautiful, the cage is beautiful, but they use these screws that rust over a pool. Like it's terrible, right? And I'm like, you're right, I hate those screws. Can't stand those screws. And then he comes and he takes me over to the door, the screen door. And the screen door had a little piece that was rusting. And he's like, it's the same thing here. And you see when this thing opens up and it gets caught on the bottom because they didn't hinge it the right way and all that. He's like, look, you're gonna have a beautiful pool. But it's these kinds of details that my guys care about. We don't even let guys go out into the field with the wrong kind of screws. We only stock these aluminum screws so people can't make a mistake. We do, whatever it is. And he was looking at all the little details. Maybe he read it on me. Maybe he realized that I was a detailed kind of guy. I don't know. All right, I have two more. Oh, almost. All right, well, no, actually. So we ended up going with these guys. He was easily $20,000 more expensive than anybody else, but I was confident that he was gonna give us the right product at the end. And then here's how the pool ended up, not with the animated character there, but well, actually, that is pretty realistic. And so here's how the pool came about. And there is the $150,000 aluminum screw that sold me on a job to pay $20,000 more than anybody else because of a screw. So what is the screw that you're selling when you go out to talk about the fence and sell the fence? What's that detail that's not the fence that you could get people to think about that nobody else was thinking about? That's my challenge to you guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.